Hey guys, this is Generic Person here, back with another video, and today we're going to go over Java generics in about 3 minutes, so let's get started. So what are Java generics? Well, they allow you to make a class or interface take one or more type parameters. This way, a class can work regardless of a given type. Let's demonstrate this with a basic program. So this program here creates two boxes. The first one is of an integer type. So in other words, it contains an integer. The second one will also contain a string, and we initialize them with the values 10 and hello world respectively. Now we then go to print them out with first box.get and then second box.get, and we'll have the values printed out onto the screen, and then we do the same thing with the second value again, but this time we store it in an intermediate variable called value. Now when we go to run it, you can kind of already see right now we have that output, but to run it again, that's exactly what it'll print each and every time. Okay, great, so that's nice and all, but why are they useful? Well, without generics, you don't know the type you're dealing with. You can make all the assumptions you want about the type you're dealing with all over in your code, but it's possible that something somewhere unintentionally will violate that assumption. Let's demonstrate this with an example. So if you take a look at this program, you'll realize that we don't use any generics whatsoever. So what this program does, first off, is it creates a box called myData, and then we go ahead and give it, we create a new box, and then we give in that box the value hello world, which is a string. Then we call the method increaseValue to get a new box containing the increased value. That's depending on whatever's inside the box. Now, here's the problem though. This method assumes that the box will contain an integer. However, it does not. Therefore, when we go to run this program, you'll realize that it crashes. And thus, that's the main reason why it crashes. So, if we actually enter the debugger, we'll see line by line how this exactly works. So, of course, we create the box, and that's going to work out fine. Increase value. Well, let's go into this method. So, when we call this method, you realize that the first thing we do is try to get the value from the box and cast it as an integer. Then we increase the value by 10, and then return it in a new box. However, though, when we actually try to do that, it's going to cause an exception because you cannot just convert a string or cast a string from itself to an integer. You just can't do that. Of course, you can convert a string to an integer, but you cannot just cast it. So to wrap up, Java generics allow classes and interfaces to accept one or more type parameters, allowing them to work without having to make an assumption on the type. There are limitations to the generics, however, but those are for another video since I can't really possibly fit them in 3 minutes.